29-0. Enough said. Hey, what's up, fight nerds? This is your boy Gershon, and I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd, where we talk about MMA, wrestling, boxing, all tons of cool stuff. Now, if you like the type of stuff, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel for some more content. Now, today we're going to talk about UFC 254. That was a highly anticipated event because of the main event and the co-main event. The main event being Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje, and the co-main, Jared Cannonier versus Robert Whittaker in the middleweight division. So that was really, really cool. I love those two fights. Now we're going to talk about exactly what we thought about them and what they really mean for the division. First shout out has to go to Ion Cutelaba and Magomed Ankalaev for finally getting in the ring after so many failed attempts due to like a whole bunch of positive COVID tests. Finally, us getting a chance to see that fight. And now there's no doubt about, I guess, who's the better of the two for right now. Because like, obviously in the last fight, it was a questionable stoppage because, the referee stopped the fight early because Cutelaba looked, he looked like he was out on his feet. He was just swaying and all that. But, it wasn't super decisive and it was pretty controversial. But he got finished in this fight, and it looked like the referee let it go for a couple more seconds just so you could understand, like, all right, he's out. He's out. There's not going to be a mistake this time, right? So, yeah, good on Ankalaev for getting the finish on that one. Also, Lauren Murphy versus Lilia Shakirova. I actually appreciated that fight because Lauren Murphy was going in there. First of all, she was supposed to be in there against Cynthia Calvillo, but I know she also, I believe, had a positive COVID test, so she couldn't fight. So Lilia she got in there, I guess last minute, or maybe she was always the backup. But Lilia was supposed to be like the stronger grappler of the two. That was like her thing. And Lauren looked stronger in all the grappling attempts, and then she actually got a submission win, which is great because obviously she wants to keep her momentum going in the division, and a loss there wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. So now we can still get Cynthia Calvillo and Lauren Murphy in the future. So yeah, awesome. I'll also mention the fight with Alexander Volkov and Walt Harris in the heavyweight division. It was very confusing because I don't know why Walt Harris continued to have a strictly stand-up battle with Alexander Volkov, who we know is a pretty accomplished kickboxer, and not threaten takedowns. He did do it in the second round, which had success. Even if he was going to just, fake them, it opened up other shots, like make him worry, make him have to lower his hands. But he was really sitting there trying to like prove he was a better striker than someone like Alexander Volkov, which didn't make any sense. Like, you were in his wheelhouse. It's one of the things I have with fighters when they're like, I'm just trying to do what you do, but better than you. And it didn't make any sense. This is mixed martial arts. So when you see you're not winning in one area, you're supposed to transition to an area where you think you might be more opportune. And I think that's what led to his loss, to be honest. He actually got TKO'd, actually. So yeah, that's that fight. All right, now in the co-main event, we had Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. Now, in the video I made predicting this, I said that Jared Cannonier, I would have wanted him to win, only to be like a fresh face, instead of having Robert Whittaker and Adesanya 2. But I also said that he starts off slow, and yeah, he has power, but he doesn't really have the speed to really take advantage of all of those types of gifts, right? Which is very, very big. Now, you saw in the fight that Robert Whittaker was able to go in and out as much as he wanted to. He actually didn't do the knee stomp, which I hate so much he didn't. But he threw tons of high kicks. He was definitely mixing up his strikes, and he was able to just land whenever he really wanted to. Obviously, the threat of Cannonier's power was always there, but could he land it? Could he really land it? That was really the big issue when it came to that. And like I said, very flat-footed. So his motion, he would bounce a lot, but he would never like be able to go forward or be able to go back. Like his footwork, he needs to work on that, being able to actually get in, get out, and create angles for himself. And he can't really do it that well. But Whittaker said he could beat him in any area, and he did. Like, he took him down to, even though Cannonier got up, and it was even reported that he got an injury from the very first kick that Whittaker gave him. Now, that's pretty crazy, seeing as how like they went for a whole, 3 rounds. And even at the end of the third, he almost put Whittaker out. which is crazy, right? Like that just shows like what the power difference could mean for a fight. But Whittaker played it safe, held him up against the cage, made sure there wasn't any space between them, didn't give him a chance to let off any surprise strikes. And that was awesome. Like I really appreciate that. Showed like Robert Whittaker, you know, he's been there. He's been here more than Cannonier has. And Cannonier, if he wants to get that shot again, I think he needs to, or wants to make use of it, he needs to improve that footwork and really get that entry better. Like, it can't just be like, I can't wait to land this shot on you. It has to be more intelligent. I will say, obviously, they want to make Whittaker an Adesanya too. I don't think that's going to go any different because Whittaker didn't show me anything different than what he's already done in some of the other fights. So I think that fight will largely remain the same. Cannonier, I don't know if he's going to fight maybe Costa next, which I guess would be a more interesting fight because he would probably stand with him and people would be more entertaining. But I don't know. And I know like Whittaker said he's not going to immediately just jump into a fight because he has a baby coming along the way. So he was like, Adesanya can do what he wants for now. He wants to go up a weight, fight somebody else. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know who is going to really fight next. It's most likely going to be Whittaker at some point, but he said he wants to fight again soon, and it most likely won't be Whittaker. So we'll see what's going on with that. Now for the main event with Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje in the lightweight division for the title. So this was obviously a very emotional time for Khabib. He lost his father earlier this year. He's usually in his camps, and Javier Mendez took, you know, the head coach over there at AKA pretty much took like the mantle that his father would have, not just for Khabib, but some of the other fighters as well. And obviously it came out even after the fight that he had like tons of injuries, he had a broken toe, he had the mumps at some point. So the training camp was crazy. People were worried about him not making weight or whatever. And obviously just tons of backdrop to this match beforehand. Justin Gaethje, hearing about his wrestling credentials, people thought, wow, this could be the answer. Like, this could be the answer to Khabib. However, my criticism to that assumption has always been, yeah, he does it in training and he has a history of it, but he hasn't had to apply it in the UFC. You haven't seen people take him down. People usually want to fight him standing up, and he hasn't taken anyone else down within the UFC. So it's great within training, but I haven't seen it tested through fire. And lo and behold, once it did get tested between Khabib, because Khabib is not just a wrestler, like he's the wrestler in the UFC, maybe just the wrestler in his division around the world, right? So watching that match, a couple of things that people might take away. They might go, wow, Khabib's striking looks so good. And there was definitely a lot of striking, a lot more striking than I thought I was going to see from him in the first round. But let's just break that down. So Khabib's striking does look better, but it also looked better against an opponent who was so worried about a takedown that he wasn't even standing up as straight as he normally is, and was just trying to make sure that his back wasn't on the cage. Like, Justin made a very good job trying to make sure that his back wasn't on the cage. It just kept coming toward the circle, but while him just trying to get away, he was eating a couple of like straight shots, and he wasn't really worried about it because he's like, you know, Khabib's not gonna hurt me. But as soon as he thought that like Khabib was gonna sit there and stand too much, it just took this much space for Khabib to dive in for that double leg. And that was it. And you saw there was such a skill difference. Like, as soon as he got him down there, he transitioned however he wanted. And the first time he was going to go for that armbar. And he almost got it. It was at the end of the round. Then the second round, he gets that takedown from a leg kick. Like, Justin went to go for a leg kick, and he pretty much like just homed in on the leg that kicked him. And it was pretty much the end from there. You saw there were just two different levels of grappling. So, you know, being an amazing collegiate wrestler is an amazing accomplishment. But in terms of that translating well with someone who is considered possibly the best grappler in the world, even from people who are in bigger divisions, that's an entirely different thing. And you saw the control, and he obviously finished Gaethje via like a mounted triangle. That was awesome. Like, and I believe that's actually the first submission he ever got while he was in the UFC as well. So it went full circle. It's a very emotional ending as well. Like, he went out, and he, you know, was crying in the middle of the ring. Obviously, all that pressure was building up, all the pressure that was on him, everything that happened with his father, just let it out. And that was like a cool moment to see, very, very human. And he retired. Like, that was his last fight. I don't think anyone saw it coming. I was watching it with some of my friends on Discord. Like, we were watching it, and it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But I'm glad we got a chance to see that type of greatness, right? And I think he's really retired. Like he said like he's doing it because his mother said she didn't want him doing this fight without his dad. And he did this last one. And maybe mentally, it's just gonna take too much of a toll because this fighting it, from like him actually fighting as a competitor, reminds him of his dad. But he is going to be coaching like Islam Makhachev and some of his other guys, Usman, his cousin Usman Nurmagomedov, and Umar. So we're gonna see some pretty cool stuff from him coaching. So he's gonna be in the octagon, but just won't be a fighter. And honestly, like I think this was his best performance ever because Gaethje was supposed to be like the guy. Was supposed to be like the guy that could do it, and he just looked more dominant than he ever has. Like he keeps on looking more and more dominant, which is crazy. So yeah, as far as what this means for the lightweight division, I mean, they want to give Conor a shot. I don't think Conor should be anywhere near the title because he hasn't fought at 155 for almost 2 years. He fought at 170 against Cowboy Cerrone, but 155 he hasn't fought for almost 2 years. So why are we talking about that? So I think for the vacant title, it should be Justin and Dustin, really, right? Because they both were former interim champs and all that. I think that'd be a great match. But if Dustin's just trying to get the money, he's gonna fight Conor. Justin and Tony don't make sense because he already beat the crap out of him. Tony could probably fight Michael Chandler if they want to do that. Or if they're trying to just get Chandler into the mix, they can do a Justin Chandler. I wouldn't want that. I want Justin and Dustin. If it's gonna be for money and there's tons of story behind it, I think that's a good thing. Let Conor fight someone like Charles Oliveira, like make him have to go through the fire or something like that. Like he shouldn't even be ranked number 4 still in the division. How? How is he ranked number 4 in the division? He hasn't fought in 2 years. It's just mind-boggling to me. I, for one, would have loved to see Khabib go 30-0. But I understand due to the promise that he made to his mother if that's not going to happen, and all a lot of people know that. I mean, they wanted to see him fight GSP, which would have been, I guess, intriguing for like hardcore fans. But I mean, GSP is older now, even self-admittedly to himself. Might not, and he's a very well-rounded fighter. But once again, I think he would have had some good defense. But I think in the end, it kind of would wind up the same way, where it's, Khabib just need this much space to do it, It might have been interesting though, you never know. GSP has pulled out some upsets before. But I'm glad we were able to once again experience and we have to appreciate him. Hopefully people were appreciating him while he was here. Just that grappling prowess, which was very, very obvious. That because everyone, the one thing about him which is really cool is that you always knew what he was gonna do. Like the fighters always knew what he was gonna do, and they couldn't stop it, and that's definitely great. Let me know if you're like, hey, I agree, I loved all those matches, or there's a match you didn't like, or something that you feel like I should have said. Put it down there in the comments. If you want to see Khabib fight some more, or if you think that he's not really retired, write that down too, all right? Until then, make sure you catch UFC. It's definitely, we're having a fight night every single week, so make sure you keep on watching it, make sure you keep on supporting these fighters, and just don't forget to enter the nerd.